about how they took the gamble with Nidalee first for Lucid, and it worked out in a past series. It didn't work out here, but I'm not sure if it's his fault, really.
Yeah, I really don't want to talk about the draft at all anymore for Game 1 in a critical sense, because they won the game and then they lost it. And we all know what it means. We all saw it happen. We saw 2 highlights of a team making mistakes, and then T1, the Nexus exploded. They won it. They punished really well. I voted for Oner because I thought his Glacial Prisons were a huge part of why D+ lost the game when they were overextended. He was super good at setting up either Keria or Guma for the arrows in that one. But I think that, you know, if you're T1, you're a little bit concerned about running this draft back. And that's because I think had D+ not made those mistakes, it was pretty tough for T1 to get control, especially after giving over 6 Void Grubs. But you're also not going to have the Faker incident where he gets, you know, solo killed a minute and a half into the game. I don't think that's going to occur. So, like, there's a lot of things that went wild and crazy in that last game.
So what is this? They're like, okay, we're not going to ban TF, we're going to ban Jax instead. So we want to play TF?
Maybe.
I mean, it would just be kind of strange to pick it very early on. They don't have to pick it first, but maybe like second rotation? Same bans here for T1.
Ashe is open still. Was not picked last game.
So's Nidalee Wolf.
True. So they can pick the Nidalee again and give the Ashe over once again. They can maybe try to take the Sejuani away. Let's see what they want to do here, as there's a lot of discussion, but it will ultimately be the Nidalee again. Not surprised by this. And we'll see what the answer is going to be here for the side of T1. The Taliyah completely ignored in the last game. But I imagine Ashe, Rumble, stocks are still high. Great performance on both players individually on these picks. And
yeah,
I mean, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it in terms of this part of the draft. So alternatively, because you know, the crazy thing is because they pick Nidalee first in a situation like this, you know that you don't have to lock Sejuani now. So you can get something else with this, like the Rumble. Steal the Tristana away is a good call, and that's what they're going to do. And with the Nidalee locked in already, it's a little bit less appealing to go Rumble here.
Yeah. That's a good call. I mean, Showmaker might just play Corki. You know, that's kind of the handshake we have nowadays in the mid lane, where it's like, okay, well, he got Tristana, so I'm playing Corki. Or he, you know, I'll play Tristana, and then the other guy plays Corki. And so we might just see the opposite way. But the TF I talked about, I mean, the bans made it very obvious.
I feel like,
and so they will pick it.
You could still go TF Corki here. Still feels pretty strong. And yeah, the Twisted Fate also is guaranteed CC for Nidalee Spears in whatever matchup they'll be playing on the top side. We don't know what that is going to be just yet. Now, this was super obvious. One of the strongest AD carry, you know, with jungle synergy duos in the game, just because of the ultimates, how they function, and as we saw in the last game. They will not allow the Zeri again. So a lot of adaptation in this draft from T1. Taking Tristana, denying the Zeri.
I wonder what Zeus is going to play in the top lane. That's like my biggest question right now, because he got the first pick of Rumble in the last game, and yes, that could have been Flex, and they could have chosen something else into the Aatrox, but he elected into that matchup. They're not going to give him Rumble, obviously. And you know you're going up against, almost definitely, ATF.
Could be Kennen, you know? I mean, it's definitely a possibility to give him some magic damage. I mean, we've seen Kennen do okay into Twisted Fate. A lot of it depends on your jungler's ability to come out and help out and get you advantages there, but I think that's certainly a matchup they could opt into. Assuming that's not banned here, the Nautilus is still available in this draft as well, which is so wild to me with how high prio it's been and how important it's been in our first 2 weeks of the LCK that it just slips through. They're not going to let Ashe Varus be a duo to deal with. Now, this could be a flex. Always remember that possibility here. So this is quite scary to face off as D+. It will probably be top side, but it's definitely playable in the bottom lane.
Yeah. Also, Lucian was banned the last time around. It was Ezreal, Lucian, the bans. This time it's Zeri, Ezreal, and Aiming says, okay, I'll play Lucian. And if Lucian was banned somewhere along the way, probably could have just played Kai'Sa. I don't think Kai'Sa would have been great into an Ashe lane by any means, but you know, in terms of picks that he's comfortable on, at least, you know. He's going to be having another one here with Lucian Nami, the classic.
I don't know if you really want to play Camille into that. Can be quite tricky. Can work out incredibly well if you do end up winning out on those early trades, but going to be the Draven Ashe lane instead, and the Camille will be going topside. So there is almost no more power you could have in a non-Kalista lane. Like, the Kalista's banned, right? But this is one of the most powerful, high damage with setup lanes, a kill lane to dream for, and it's Keria playing it, so you can trust this bottom duo knows how to play it. They've probably played it countless times in scrims. And I don't have the data in front of me, but it's probably not the first time they played it in the LCK, because they play lanes like this all the time.
Yeah.
And if you look at the side of D plus Kia, they have a lot of single target lockdown. They have a decent amount of power in the mid game, spears for controlling objectives. They have the Corki. Once he hits IE, it could be very powerful. But I think what T1 have is a comp that snowballs incredibly well, has side lane win conditions, and, you know, really has a lot of power in the early game and can snowball incredibly well.
It's Iris. Welcome, welcome. Coming down to watch some LCK.
Thanks for coming by.
She does a lot of the trilingual translations on stages. Did that at MSI. Very cool stuff. This come from D plus Kia. It has tons of damage. It has a lot of pick. There is no front line. So I hope you get ahead. Otherwise, maybe that damage is not going to carry you across the line. As you mentioned, T1, a lot of different angles they could play for here for the next game here. Game number 2. Let's hop into the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
And here we go. Aiming didn't buy any items. At least he realized, and he's not a jungler. Not going to call out any players that have done that on the international stage. But yeah, he's going to be able to get back and buy the item.
That's how you can tell somebody.
And he's going to the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, there was a pretty good chance we were going to see a lane swap in this game because of the Twisted Fate situation.
Yeah.
And there's so much power in this because Twisted Fate has that guaranteed CC. Is going to be useful as a second jungler, essentially. But the setup here is now, you know, unknown to the side of T1, but they have both the Draven and Ashe in position to spot early. And Faker can take a little bit of damage early, but is playing very respectfully. And look at where Zeus is as well, you know, just back. So not a whole lot of ways that this could go disastrously until a gold card appears.
Oh, that's weird. What's this TF doing in my lane? And yeah, that's a huge amount of damage. Faker in a bit of trouble, but he's not going to go down. And yeah, Saming went back, bought the item, goes top, has Kellen, and they will look to push Zeus out. The Camille into the TF, especially at level 6. He holds gold card, he throws it, you press R.
Yeah.
And he probably dies because he's TF.
Exactly.
Into Camille.
So they avoid that matchup, at least initially here, and you can see that Camille is just kind of pushed out of the game. Went for fleet footwork as well on the Camille, which is quite interesting, but feels really good into the matchup if it were to be into the Twisted Fate. And up here, no answer to this just yet, but the same to be true of the bottom side. And this is kind of about these two top players who are going to be one form of extra CC in an exchange anywhere else on the map, but will otherwise just not be killing objectives or minions. And, you know, we talked about how the changes to the turrets came through, and when there's a little bit less lane swap possibility here. And I thought it was just a matter of time until we did see it in the LCK, because it was still viable. We're still seeing it in other regions, and there's a lot of undesirable matchups to be played out, and there's a lot of champions that get a lot of value out of funneling gold. And the Lucian is one of them, the Draven another one of them, and is this going to be a bit of a race down here? Zeus helping out in bottom, and the race is on. They're winning it for now. Yeah, see some backs coming through. We're going to see that swap back.
I mean, the turret's, you know, a bit tankier, and you see that even with all these minions hitting it, and King getting to work on this one, he's only now going to finally pick up a plate, which he does do, but T1 have been able to pick up a couple of their own. And now they're all backing.
Zeus does have TP, so he can get straight back to this turret as well. Kingen won't be able to get any further plate gold here. And he is missing one of Twisted Fate's favorite things, is all that early farm and all those extra sets of pieces of gold he's going to be getting from the Twisted Fate passive. Starting to finally get some of that online now. And bottom side, Guma and Keria do go for their reset. So game here in terms of gold fairly even. I do feel like in terms of what you get from the gold, like we see a Dirk for aiming, you see the longsword and the boots for Guma, also Keria picking up boots. They're going to have to utilize the slows from Keria, have to win longer trades here, but against this Dirk, that'd be quite tricky actually, and if you get bubbled, you're going to have a bad time. I feel like the game state is really almost dead even, and it's really just what you count as advantages and how they're utilized. Well, this massive wave here with the timing of the back for T1, they didn't even get to have agency in this lane. Just going to catch the wave.
Yeah, just catching the wave, farming it out. Faker unaffected by the early gank, didn't even have to TP. And just kind of hanging out. We go back to stock standard, and we're just farming it out. Remember that the last game, with how crazy it was, we still had a relatively quiet early game with, you know, both junglers just farming it out, and a lot of just lanes going back and forth. We do have Faker jumping in now, and he is going to take a nice trade here up against Showmaker. The one thing I forgot about in the early game was Faker going down at level 1.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit of revenge here in this matchup at the moment. Will force that TP. Lucid was able to get an Ether Wisp, which will help his already fast clear. And he's going to be able to come up here and offer some damage onto Faker. Misses the spear.
Yeah. It's not in any kill threat, but Lucid is going to... Oh, wait. Okay, that spear does hit, and Faker does back away. But yeah, just delaying the back, being annoying. He's already cleared out his jungle very fast, so he can get back to that without any delay.
So less value for the top laners is really kind of the TLDR. Less money for them in this game. A little bit of impact as Oner comes down here now. Control ward in this tri-brush. Kellen not linked up, but without ult, I don't think Oner can really push the issue here, but it will give them a plate guaranteed.
Yeah, just going to go between Guma and Keria.
And Guma ended up getting a pretty significant advantage out of this. The back timing here for aiming. They got more gold. CS is higher. And if aiming doesn't get a gank here from Lucid, like they can't really punish because of the Ashe slows, and that Dirk, like I mentioned, isn't going to necessarily do as much if you don't have control. Topside Lucid is grabbing those grubs though. I mean, every time we show this mid lane, I hold my breath after what happened last game.
Yeah, I expected this one to go the way of Faker, but actually towards the end it does look like Showmaker getting some extra chip damage as Faker's backing away.
Yeah, he's got plated steel caps and trying to heal through that fleet footwork. Level 6 for Faker now.
It's kind of an awkward look in the top lane right now. Was pushing away from Zeus, and he doesn't have any vision. And he was just hiding in the brush, and Kingen was not hitting the minions, so it kind of looks like he's just trying to keep the wave right here. And Zeus goes in, gets hit by the trap that was set up there, but still doesn't have a ward available. So Oner edging up towards the top side of the map. Might just be there in case Lucid does commit to any kind of gank up there.
Yeah. As Kellen is running back to lane here. That fairy charm and a control ward. He is going to show up, aiming, playing very passively, trying to deny him a cannon. And Kellen going to help out, grab that one. It's been a very quiet early game. Incremental advantages here for T1 in the bottom lane. Small farm lead for Oner in the jungle. And both these comps explode when they get an advantage, but I feel like T1's does even more so because of the Draven passive, the cash-in that he can get. Makes it so much more scary if you do end up making a mistake early. So Lucid is here.
Trying to get in onto Guma. The spear is going to be dodged, and Guma pretty fast on the runaway. Also bubble missed and heal committed to by Kellen. Meanwhile, no sums used by T1's bot lane, so Lucid gets in there. He's trying to help, but actually I feel like it's just going to be T1 continuing to dominate the bottom lane.
I mean, Guma still has ult, so if they take another few hits, could be in trouble. Aiming.
Yeah, that will be denied with the knockback, but a bit of chip damage with the calling.
Yeah, I mean, if Oner ends up hitting an ult through there onto aiming, doesn't have cleanse, and Guma presses R, that's your first cash into the game.
They want to go for Faker here on the TF Destiny game.
Yeah, but Faker's so respectful, and he's got the wave. And now he's just going to hard commit. Remember, he doesn't have teleport, so he is not going back to the top lane anytime soon.
Yeah. Well,
gonna grab nothing here.
Feels like T1, they like have a monitor on where Kingen is, and they're like, okay, he's going towards mid, Faker backs away. Okay, he's going towards bot, they back away. And now that he's gone towards top, the bot lane returns down to the bot lane. So they dodge any hope of a Destiny play.
He doesn't end up really losing anything for it, so it ends up being okay. A pretty measured play from Kingen. But had he committed and failed and then lost topside plates to this Camille, would have felt disastrous. Scuttle does come over here, spots out the Camille's arrow.
Ooh, very close, and another dodge from Showmaker, but still going to be slowed up here. Permafrost coming in, and that'll force the flash finally. But the fact that he doesn't die amongst all of that, still very impressive for Showmaker.
Yeah, quickly reacts to the arrow, and Valkyries, even though he might have been able to sidestep, he doesn't take any chances with that. That's when Oner decides he's going to Glacial Prison because he knows that the Valkyrie's on cooldown, but he sidesteps that one too. And that was really well handled. Flash still gone, though, for a follow-up, as both of those ults are on a much lower cooldown than the Summoner spell that Showmaker no longer has. And I'd love to see the total gold across the map because it's almost dead even aiming.
Well, getting in there, he's going to use the knockback before the culling does come out, but aiming's angle there not perfect. So Guma doesn't have to burn flash or anything. He does heal.
Meanwhile, topside, I don't think he can really commit to anything here under this Camille who has ult and flash. You're Nidalee.
Yeah, so the Nidalee's farming. The Sejuani is farming. At least Oner tried to make a play. I mean, for Lucid, it's like, well, we have Nami Bubble in the bot lane, I guess. Corki doesn't have much gank assist. We have Kingen, but that's a Camille in the top lane, so...
Yeah, there's just not much this...
Not gonna gank.
This Nidalee can do until she gets some items here.
Lucid's going in there. I mean, Faker nearby, and immediately Lucid's just essentially going to have to flash over the wall here. Nearly going down as well. Zeus thinking about going very deep for that kill, but he's going to elect to push him away. Big fight here over the pubs, as Showmaker this time is going to manually input that emote, and Zeus is going super low. Over the wall goes Showmaker, as he's still alive. Zeus surviving for so long, and now Faker a big opportunity to potentially turn this one around. As Showmaker also extremely low, the permafrost does come in. But now the gold card off cooldown. They want to go for Faker, but guess who's here? It's Keria! He makes his way into the play as the Guma ult also sails wide, but this is still gonna go the way of T1 after all the shenanigans, as Showmaker also will bite the dust.
All right, this ended up being a really, really narrow miss, I feel, for D+, because they were so close to really getting insane value on this play, but they don't really walk away with all of anything. T1 still get both of those grubs. So go back all the way to what happens down here, because he did ult, but at the same time is caught by the tidal wave, flashes the bubble, but aiming has the damage. So this happened meanwhile. So a lot of stacks now gone, those adoration stacks taken away off of this play. So really nice idea there from Guma, but he is caught as over here, this ends up just being a very scrappy and wild fight, but there's a gold card here. Zeus narrowly gets out. And then this going forward, it initially seemed like, ooh, this might be so horrible for D+ with the shield coming through from the Camille Q, but they are able to secure the kill just the same. And then Faker is able to buffer the gold card as Guma's ult goes wide. Sadly, he dies. Then the gold card buffer here from Faker forces Kingen to flash the wall. Keria will follow him to secure the kill. Showmaker not able to catch Oner. And so T1 very narrowly but end up with a huge lead here despite losing those adoration stacks.
Yeah.
Two kills for Faker.
2 kills for Faker. It feels like the money is really where you want it on the Tristana, just like it was. Oh boy. Well, now that money's right underneath a Nidalee, and Faker's in a lot of trouble. He is going to have to hop away. Does get the reset. And so not as much trouble as I expected. But meanwhile, Aiming and Kellen getting some big value here.
Lucid is trying to come up with some big plays, but is not coming up with much.
They can't commit to that. Meanwhile,
scared, I think, knowing that Zeus' ult was coming back up there to look for the bubble after the tidal wave and just trying to kite back. Not going to get anything. As meanwhile, over here,
I don't know if T1 get this, but they are grouping up pretty heavily for it. The spear is going to go wide, and yeah, they don't want to tank it in front of two people. Oh, it's a really close race for that first blood turret.
yeah, Faker's coming over here too. You're full health, full mana, but grab that slow.
Grab that slow.
You know what I mean? Like every time I get that, like when I'm full health, I'm like, well, I still pick it up, you know? I'm
He's
glad to know
like,
Faker's just like me, man.
I need to deny this 2.5 minutes in the future when Lucid gets low. So it is going to be first turret going to T1. So they get that advantage. They also have the Rift Herald here.
Yeah.
So it should be DK to get the Drake, you would imagine. But with all three people backing, I guess not.
Yeah, I don't think they actually
Maybe
get
Lucid
this.
just solos it?
I
No?
think that's too risky. I mean, Zeus still has ult. Like, they just give that up, lose the first turret blood. So first brick goes over, and now they have control of this dragon. Guma's in position to mid to push through, so it's being very awkward here for the side of D+. And you know, that moment just a few moments ago, I guess I should say, where Showmaker and Lucid try to get Faker. Like without lockdown, it's so hard to catch this Corki, and Lucid has made such a low impact, unfortunately, on this game in terms of lane ganks because he doesn't have set up CC. It's something we talk about with Italy all the time. He does with a gold card in the top lane, but you can't gank Camille. It's way too risky. Once he gets more damage, even if there's no CC, he could burst people down. They'll just die so fast that that's the ultimate CC. But T1 with some really nice edges in this game, and you see where the gold is. 2 kills on the Tristana. Super massive for them. Faker is playing it safe.
They're really trying to find these angles. I mean, Kellen was all over the Rumble in game 1, and then he found Faker the one time, and this time the gank rush is going to be red. This is probably something I would assume that the T1 coaching staff went over as well. It's like, these guys, they're playing a little bit sneaky, right? They're using some sneaky tactics. So you got to be ready for that. You can't push up too far if you don't have the pressure. And seems like T1's doing a better job of that, as once again, Oner gets that ult in onto Kingen, but fortunately, there is no follow-up, so Kingen just ghosts away.
Yeah, will be fine. Loses a ghost. Arrow did not get anywhere close, but kind of covering the retreat path there, I guess, is the argument you can make for the angle. Keria sent that one on. As now with these backs here for T1, I mean, we're just resetting again. 3.5 minutes until either objective spawns. And Aiming has spent a lot of this mid-game here just pushing waves into this turret, but they haven't been able to put any significant damage onto it. So the outers, top and bottom, are traded. The Void Grubs they have, they're trying to rush this down.
They got the 3. Oner doesn't have his ult. You know, nobody's really there to stop it. With Faker down in bot without TP, so there's not a lot of punish potential. DK recognize it, and a nice timing from them. They take the mid-tier 1, and now
Faker, I mean, with this pressure in mid, he's going to try to grab this turret plus the charge. I mean, I think this is a lot of value here for T1.
The charge, it should happen. Will they get the T1, the tier 1 rather, is the question. As Oner's going to go in and go down, will the Rift Herald. So Faker should still get the bot one, but they're trading top and bot, so at the end of the day, this is still DK favored.
Yeah, Kingen not going to commit the teleport, or sorry, Zeus not going to commit the teleport here to defend Kingen's push. Kingen's not going to hard commit either, so they won't get this turret. Faker gets the bottom turret, so a turret for a turret in mid, but the Faker angle was always there, and he is going to be successful with that one. And now they're going to get this mid turret anyway, so T1 definitely trading up. As 305 stacks now for Gumi. He lost 264 as per production. Gave us the update on that one earlier. So fighting his way back into this game. Still waiting for that critical moment, which I think, which is in part why D+ are playing so passive around these early skirmishes. They just don't want to give him that opportunity, especially when you have Camille for setup.
Does he know? Well, Showmaker seems to not know, trying to take a 1v1 here against Faker. The arrow goes wide. Is now Faker going to hop in, and the ult comes out from the Tristana to finish it off. But here is Lucid over vision, so Faker just going to flash away. And now with Keria nearby, he will be saved. That's the second time Keria gets there right in time to save his teammate.
So this time we'll say Showmaker had the miscalculation. Trying to utilize the brush there to get some additional damage into Faker while he didn't have vision to auto him. Faker is able to get straight in there and wins the fight as have a significant lead of gold. Now has his Flicker Blade online. And 2-item Tristana here, just like we saw in the last game. The lead is pretty significant. And it also means that with 3 grubs, not 6, but 3, still Tristana is going to be a force to be reckoned with insides if given some additional time. As they're looking for a punish.
Here we are again.
I mean, they just keep trying to kill him, and he keeps getting away every time.
Yeah. Essentially, I mean, with no vision in this jungle, you can't really step up there, right? Did he do it at the perfect time to deny their backs? Now I've gone too far. The arrow's going to come here. I think it only saw Lucid throughout that entire trade, but still, now with 4 people over here, Team 1 will solidify.
So this is Faker's 1v1 against Showmaker. Looks like I'm going in for a fight. The arrow misses. And Showmaker avoids vision for just a moment, but he just goes straight in with the rocket jump and ults him.
Okay.
Meanwhile, mid lane, aiming in a bit of trouble, but he does have some teammates nearby, and Zeus to overextend as the Guma ult also not going to land, so they cannot finish off aiming. And they really wanted to get that pick onto the Lucian before this one, and now with Baron available, they want to start it.
Faker is going to try to split push a little bit. Okay, I take it back. He's backing here. It does have teleport, but D+ are trying to really put the screws in here and rush this down while the Camille is down.
They don't have anyone to tank this. I mean, this is what I was talking about.
There's no tank.
They don't have anyone, like not even an Aatrox.
Yeah, I mean,
no Leona.
Really, really rough, and Oner is coming over. Keria is about to have his ult back. Oner has flash, so trying to deny him entry into the pit is so difficult with the lack of CC they have. Kellen doesn't have ult either from the previous play, so Oner could have just as easily walked up flash smite. It's a 50-50. You don't want to take that against T1 at this game state. And that's another turret gone, so you commit to Baron, and T1 just walk away, +1 turret. 2 turret advantage for them right now, and that's the inner, so significant amount of gold. They've taken a 2,000 gold lead now in this game. Pull breaker on Guma, by the way, which is,
yeah,
it's his 1v9 item. He's like, when everyone else is dead on my team, I'll take care of it.
That is an option.
It is quite
interesting tactic
choice. At any rate, aiming here so low, Zeus not able to get the kill here, and then the peel comes through. Unfortunately for Oner, his ult also misses. I don't know if they really wanted to follow up after that with the Camille down.
Infernal Soul this time around.
Wow.
So, you remember game 1, T1, they got the first 2 Drakes, but then it was Ocean Soul, and there wasn't a lot of priority on those Drakes, but now, especially for DK's comp, where there really is no tank and everybody can use some extra damage, same could be said for T1. Everybody wants some Infernal Drakes under their belts.
Yeah. You can really feel, if you look at the items, the low eco of the top laners from that early game. They just don't have a lot of money, so every CC they use counts. Every engage for Camille especially has to be so careful, so calculated, because you just don't have the stats. You don't have that much money. You know, if you go in, you will get blown up. You're not going to do that much damage. You're not going to 100-0 somebody at this stage of the game. Maybe if we get to the later parts, you can, end up, all-inning aiming and killing him easily, but for Twisted Fate, I think it's a lot easier because his ultimate gives him flank angles, and his gold card is a ranged ability, and it's not an ultimate ability either, so he's always going to have a lot of agency. Now he's got his rapid fire cannon done as well, so I do feel like Kingen has a bigger part to play in this game potentially than Zeus, especially now that Zeus is down flash. But otherwise, this game and the map still belongs to T1 here, and with Camille, Tristana side lane, even the Twisted Fate side lane angle, doesn't feel that strong in this scenario. Even with no items, Camille can push so quickly.
Yeah, essentially, I mean, now that the RC is done, okay, well, he's very fast, but Faker is closing the distance. Here comes Lucid, and that means they want to go in onto Faker as the spear's going to land, but immediately Lucid will be denied, but Faker in a lot of trouble as the big one hits him, and it will be enough. The bubble will miss, and now we got TP coming in. This is the Camille, as, yeah, Kingan's just dead here. And they're going to try to get this kill over to Guma. That's a double for Guma as well. They take down the top end jungle. And now it's T1 looking at the Baron.
Big cash-in will put him 400 gold ahead now of the 3-kill Lucian. So he finally takes a lead over aiming. Looking to take this Baron here as D+ grouping up.
Oh, Showmaker. Oh, he's going to get flashed on by Oner. Excellent play with the Arctic Assault flash. That's immediately going to catch him off guard. And Showmaker, with his flash, he does get away. Now, that does stop the T1 Baron. But it's just extra bonus gold for T1.
Yeah, really heavy cost. As plays like this, exactly what I was talking about with rapid fire cannon, you can try to set up aggressive rotations like this, but look at how far away the rest of D+ is because Faker's not that far up. It doesn't necessarily matter if you gold card him, as Lucid has to go so deep for the play. Luckily has his stopwatch available. But look at the damage back, and you just get outnumbered because the Camille has teleport. The Twisted Fate does not, so it's just a numbers game you are not going to win, and they end up, obviously, with the gold lead they have, able to start Baron. And D+, this is so scary committing in here, because if you get wiped and they get Baron and you lose your inhibitors, the game is basically over. You're not coming back from this one, but they are able to at least keep T1 off it. Guma?
Oh, chance here. It's a lot of damage in a Guma. Spear. It was actually kind of a cute tech that Lucid did as well. He threw the spear towards Faker, and then he smited the back minion. And so the spear actually hit on that top play. It helped them secure Faker. Would have been even worse for DK if they didn't get him, so I thought it was just a cool mention.
Yeah, no, solid mention for sure.
He always does those little things. You think about the Vi plays with the ult flash, just to close the distance, not allow them to really react or anything like that.
If you look at the items for Oner, he is extremely tanky. He has Zeeks, he has Warden's Mail, and for Lucid, he has the very expensive broken Seeker's Arm Guard from that play topside. Still has some stats, but he is super far behind in terms of his relevance in this game, and now T1 just gonna set this one up again. They have vision in this choke point, and I mean, D+, they have the Destiny Gate, but where are you going with it?
Are they going to get here on time? They look for Keria. He just flashes in, and now the ult comes out, and there's no entry for Lucid to make it into the pit. No hope of a steal. The arrow going to be thrown in. Showmaker wanting to keep this game, this fight alive for the side of DK. That's another gold card as they are going to push them into the west side jungle.
Gotta be so careful about chasing through here, though. Zeus has his ultimate. Woo! And he might just lock down whoever steps forward.
That's a culling, and more poke is coming out. They're trying to get this poke in, but now the engage comes out from T1. They pull the trigger, and Zeus is able to frontline Guma and Keria. They stay alive in the 2v2 as well as aiming goes down. It is a clean ace for T1 in Game 2.
Yeah, and likely the last nail in the coffin here at 26 minutes. T1 looking to push and break open this base. And what is arguably T1's cleanest game of the season so far. Very, very one-sided affair. A few draft tweaks, a strong early game, great map reads, not shaken by the lane swap. And this is the bounce back T1 fans were waiting for in this series against D+. Game 1.